turned to spring since the last time I've been here, and that's lovely. And I hope everyone is having a good day. And if you're not, maybe this will help. So let us begin with a prelude. I'm going to do, let's do God be the, no, God be the love to search and keep me. God be the prayer to move my voice. God be the strength to now uphold me. Oh, Christ, surround me. Oh, Christ, surround me. Walking behind to hem my journey, going ahead to light my way, and from beneath, above, and always, oh Christ, surround me. Oh Christ, surround me. Oh Christ, surround me. Oh Christ, surround me. Please join me in our opening sentences. My soul waits for the Lord, more than those who watch for the morning, more than those who watch for the morning. From parched places I have cried to you.
O Lord, hear my voice.
With my whole heart I want to praise you.
O Lord, hear my voice.
If you, Lord, should mark iniquities,
who could stand? Who could stand?
I will wait for the Lord, my soul waits, and in God's presence do I hope. And now please join me or listen to our expressions of faith. Lord, you have always given bread for the coming day, and though I am poor, today I believe. Lord, you have always given strength for the coming day, and though I am weak, today I believe. Lord, you have always given peace for the coming day, and though of anxious heart, today I believe. Lord, you have always kept me safe in trials, and now, tried as I am, today I believe. Lord, you have always marked the road for the coming day, and though it may be hidden, today I believe. Lord, you have always lightened this darkness of mine, and though the night is here, today I believe. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. The world behind me, the cross before me, the world behind me, the cross before me, the world behind me, the cross before me. No turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. And if you saw me start laughing while I was singing, it's because my husband walked in the door and started doing the running man while I was singing.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy. And over to
Ah.
Shemiram.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Tonight's reading is from 1 King, chapter 18, 22 to 39. Then Elijah said to them, I am the only one of the Lord's prophet left, but Baal has 450 prophets. Get 2 bulls for us. Let Baal's prophets choose one for themselves and let them cut it into pieces and put it on the wood, but not set fire to it. I will prepare the other bull and put it on the wood, but not set fire to it. Then you call on the names of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord. The God who answers by fire, he is the God. He is God. Then all the people said, what you say, it's good. Elijah said to the prophets Baal, choose one of the bulls and prepare it first, since there are so many of you. Call on the name of your God, but do not light the fire. So they took the bull given them and prepared it. Then they called on the name of Baal from morning till noon. Baal answer us, they shouted, but there was no response. No one answered, and they danced around the altar they had made. At noon, Elijah began to taunt them. Shout louder, he said. Surely he is a god. Perhaps he is deep in thought, or busy, or traveling. Maybe he is sleeping and must be awakened. So they shouted louder and slashed themselves with swords and spears, as was their custom, until their blood flowed. Midday passed, and they continued their frantic prophesying until the time for the evening sacrifice, but there was no response. No one answered, no one paid attention. Well, from the upper room, David Schultz says, it's been over 50 years, but I still remember my 6th grade Sunday school class like it was yesterday. That's because it changed how I experienced church and how I prayed. After spending years in basement classrooms, I moved to the 6th grade classroom, which was up in the steeple of the church. And the class was taught by a man, the first male teacher I had ever had. His lesson on prayer has stayed with me all my life. He recounted a time when he was driving on an icy country road and his car spun out of control and careened toward a tree. He told us that he prayed to a 2-word prayers, not now. Though he didn't have time to embellish his prayer with formalities, God heard his prayer. In 1 King 18, the prophets of Baal thought they would be heard because of their many words. When God's prophet Elijah prayed, his prayer was only a couple of sentence line long. Yet God heard him and answered his prayers. We don't need to concoct long, fancy prayers in order to pray. From the first syllable we utter, God listens to us. I often say to myself, how come I don't elaborate when I'm praying? But that reading shows that an honest request from God in prayer, in the form of prayer, doesn't have to be fancy. That's my thought.
Shemaram, thank
Anyone
you so much.
else?
That is exactly what I was hoping that reading would, the lesson that we would be getting from that reading, because I was trying to follow it, and then I'm like, okay, what I'm getting from this and what I'm hearing is like this sort of, they were trying so many different things to reach their God, like, you know, and sometimes, yeah, at least for me, I don't know, there's an expression, less is more. Sometimes when I pray, it's not anything fancy. And there's a book by Annie Lamott called Thank You. Wait, hold on. Help Me, Thank You, Wow, or something like that. Thank You, Help Me, Wow, something like, you know, 3 prayers. But yeah, I like the message of just go to God, no matter, doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to be eloquent. You don't have to be some great orator. You can just say one word, one sentence, one whatever, and it's enough. So thank you, Shemaram. Does anyone else have some thoughts on that? Rick is not, Rick unmuting? I thought he was moving. No, okay. Jerry, Holly?
You guys summed it up pretty well.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna touch that.
Jerry is not going to touch that one tonight. But yeah, that was, thank you, Shemaram. Thank you. We now move into our time of community prayer. Let's lift up our prayers out loud, the ones that are on our hearts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, Rick, please.
I just found the mute button.
Go for it.
If I may,
You
I don't
may.
think that's the point at all
Mm,
of this passage. They were praying to the wrong God.
yeah.
I think if they had had a 2-word prayer, and if Elijah, had, you know, prayed for an hour, it still would have been Elijah. Elijah still would have won in the old-fashioned, you know, we're dancing on thin ice as far as my beliefs about God and stuff like that. But in their times, they were saying, you know, I think the lesson they took out of that was, and I think it says it at the end of the chapter, is like all the prophets of Baal said, oops, you know, we're banging on the wrong door.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think there is certainly a lesson here or somewhere that says don't just, oh, there's something about bells and whistles or something.
Yeah, right.
And that I think there is certainly a lesson about, it doesn't take a lot to get God's attention.
Yeah.
But I think the lesson in this passage is, you got to be kind of, get your ladder up against the right house.
Yeah. Totally, Rick. Thank you.
Whatever that image. No, there's a something image about that. It's like, I don't know. Forget. There's a ladder image that I can't remember. But anyway, the point is, they were talking forever.
Yeah.
And Elijah wasn't worried because he was pretty confident. No, he was completely confident. He had amazing amount of gall, but he was confident because he knew they were talking to not God, and he was going to talk to God.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's what I usually get out of this passage is I don't know, what's the proper expression for moxie or nerve, or gall that Moses would have.
Chutzpah.
Yes, that's it. To say, you got 450 prophets, it's just me, but, bring it on. Bring it on, because I have a secret. I know which one is the right God. So there's that problem. I mean, would you dare do that? I mean, forget about a cast of thousands watching you. Under what circumstances would you bet on God's response in public?
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah. Rick, thank you.
All the odds too.
On the other hand, there are some religions that they think that they know God, but they have a different path. And whether it's Judaism or Islam or Baha'ism or, and they think that their God is the God that we should pray to. But I don't know. It's we're talking about Christianity and others as well.
I feel like it's a complicated passage. I mean, me sitting here running this 6 o'clock prayer service, not as a biblical scholar by any means, sort of sees a lot in this. I can see both points, and I wish we could stay here and chew on this for a long, long time. And it's hard for me to think about how to quite wrap this up and move on.
And
But,
it would
Mary,
be a long, and it would be a long, long time.
it would be. I feel like we're going into like a Bible study, and I think that's a beautiful thing. But I also want to honor and recognize that it's a half-hour prayer service. But it is deep. It is deep, and
yes, it is.
Initially when I said, "Oh yeah, okay, less is more," this and that. That's sort of what initially stood out to me. Rick, I'm so glad you found your unmute button, because you brought in this new dynamic of like, yeah, but it was the wrong guy. You know what I mean? So it just really, really interesting. And I wish we could sit here and debate.
Yeah,
more.
That was cool, Rick.
It was.
It was cool.
And
like I said, I have no response. I was not touching that. That takes a lot of study. Plus, you have to go forward and backwards, and you have to actually read that whole thing to begin to get an understanding.
I feel like as someone who is not, super biblical, well versed in the Bible, like taking that story and sort of just reading it without the context,
you can't.
Is difficult. It's difficult to gather meaning from it, to try to draw meaning from it when you should probably read at least the whole chapter or whatever. So maybe that's our homework for tonight, everybody.
Right.
Or if not tonight, maybe, during the week or whatever, try to, maybe read what comes before, what comes after, and continue to chew on this, very very provocative, I think, story from the Bible. So let's move on. Thank you all. That was great. To our community prayers.
You might want to make yourself a little sign that says half hour. This is a half hour prayer meeting.
No, we're usually pretty good.
Well, others are. I'm not always. You can hold.
Well,
you can hold it up for me. Good point, Rick. But half hour prayer meeting.
If we go a few minutes over, I'm not gonna quibble with you here, Rick. So let's move into our time of prayer, and I'll begin by lifting up Sheila. I don't see Sheila this evening, so all those displaced from the manor, all of the animals that love us, people living with any kind of addiction, especially a gambling addiction, families, for her, in her recovery, her son Scott, and this 6 o'clock prayer service. I will also lift up my prayers. I am praying this week and thinking this week, all this week, really, of my good friend and our good friend, Betsy Schomburg, who will, on Sunday, be 10 years since she passed away, which seems, I've been trying to wrap my brain around that all week, and I can't seem to do it. So I'm thinking of her all week, thinking about 10 years ago, thinking of her daughter, Kelly, and her son, Ryan, and all of us who really, really loved her. So, yeah.
Okay, I've
Very
advised the pastors that I have a list, and it seems to be growing. I just got off the phone with somebody, Nathan, that wanted a prayer, also prayers, and so I'll just add them, and I requested that they take my list up to the throne of grace, as opposed to naming all these people. So I'll just name a few. And that's Simon Conaway and Brenda, the Knash family, and the Perez family, deportation, and Jimmy, Lou, Kurt, and Danae.
Thank you, Jerry.
And the list.
And the list, of course. Shemiram.
Yeah, prayers for people who are experiencing medical difficulties and I don't know, there's just results and occupational therapy and all that stuff.
Yeah. Thank you. Holly.
Yeah, my usual prayers for Arlene and Adam, Russell and his kids, Martha, all those in abusive relationships, churches in transition, all affected by climate change, and my friend Jack, who's going through a real hard time.
Thanks, Holly. Rick, would you like to lift up any prayers this evening? Okay. Let us be in the spirit of prayer. God, we give you thanks for this gathering, for these people on the Zoom boxes who inspire and challenge and just make us better people. They make me better. We each make each other better just by being here and sharing our prayers and listening to these Bible stories and having conversations. And yes, it is only a half an hour, but what a glorious and what a beautiful half an hour it is. And it's been going on now for almost 5 years. God, we are truly grateful for it. To be able to lift our prayers out loud, to just have them on our heart, to know that there are people who think about us, who care for us, who care about this community, who care about people who are in pain, people who are going through therapy, occupational, physical, whatever it might be, mental health counseling. We remember people that are in pain, God, people who are unhoused, people who are dealing with any kind of addiction. And we're thinking especially of people with gambling addictions, people with alcoholism. God, it can be a struggle to get up in the mornings when we don't put you first, when we put our worldly desires, our addictions, our whatevers ahead of you. It is never good. God, we lean into you. We lean into your peace and your grace that passes all understanding. We give you thanks for Jerry and the list that she holds in her hand, because we know that you know what is on that list. God, we're thinking of Arlene and Adam and Russell and Josephine and Louise. We're thinking of people in abusive relationships. God, we're thinking of those who have passed. 10 years can seem like 1 year. It seems impossible, God, that Betsy has been gone from this earthly plane for 10 years. But we give you thanks for her life, and we give you thanks for Kelly and Ryan and the legacy that she left behind at Fourth Church, including me, honestly, being at that church. It's a blessing, really a blessing. God, there are certainly angels all around us. Help us to see them. Help us to be with them when they are struggling. And we're thinking of Holly's friend, Jack. And we're thinking of anyone right now just going through a tough time. So God, give us the strength to face our evenings, to settle in if we're settling in, to go out, and if we're going out, whatever it might be, we give you thanks for this moment that we are all together. Keep us safe until we meet again. Amen. In the shadow of your wings, I will sing your praises, O Lord.
The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?
The Lord is the refuge of my life.
Of whom shall I be afraid?
I believe I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Oh, wait for the Lord, have courage and wait. Wait for the Lord. And I realized that is where I was supposed to do the prayers, but I will say, as you have made this day, O God, you also make the night. Give light for our comfort. Come upon us with quietness and still our souls, that we may listen for the whisper of your spirit and be attentive to your nearness in our dreams. Empower us to rise again in new life, to proclaim your praise and show Christ to the world, for he reigns forever and ever. Amen. And now please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. See that you be at peace among yourselves and love one another. Follow the example of good people of old, and God will comfort you and help you both in this world and the world which is to come. And let everyone say together, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
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 And may the peace of Christ be with you all.
And
Also
also
with
with
you.
you.